Hi, fourth grade. Are you ready to do the missions? I decided to make this video for you because maybe it'll be a little bit helpful on what are some tips and ways to work with the glue since we can't all be together. So here are the things that you're going to need that will really help you. You'll need whatever your black glue is. So those of you who are at home probably purchased black glue. If you are at school watching this, then you'll probably be working with these bottles with me. So whatever glue you have, you want to always make sure that the spout where it comes out is not blocked. So if I can get mine open, it's kind of stuck. Hold on a second. There we go. So one thing that's helpful is having, this is a paper clip that I have twisted and bent into just a little kind of a poker, a little stick. So if you can do something like that, you want to start out maybe by putting it in the top just to make sure that it's not blocked at all. And if there's anything like this one has a little piece stuck on there, you just kind of want to work that around in there and make sure that there's nothing blocking the hole. Okay, so that would be step one for you. Another helpful thing to have is going to be a paper towel and a piece of scrap paper, because I want you to practice and test things out on the scrap paper before you go on to your real paper. The paper towel will be for this, the top of the glue is sometimes going to get messy, so you're just going to want to kind of like wipe its nose and clean off the top every once in a while. And if you do get a blockage in there, same thing, take that little pin and put it in the inside of the container and kind of clear that out. So those are some helpful tips to get started. Now I'm going to share my screen with you so you can look over at this picture of the mission that I'm going to do kind of a few parts on as an example. So here we go. Okay, so you should be able to see the mission here, and unfortunately it is not the best camera that we have here, so it's a little bit light. Hopefully you can see it okay. You'll probably be able to see it better on your home computer than on the big monitors at school. And I don't remember which one this is, but it has a nice combination of different types of plants and trees. There is a little bit of tile roof for me to show you. And there's some things like detail, like this bell right here, and also some of the trees. So that way I can show you how much and how little you want to have with your glue. If you recognize this mission, you might notice that it does have even more detail than this, but when we were drawing it, remember how I taught you to simplify it? So that's what we really need to have, is a simplified version. So I'm going to have handy, here's my little scrap paper right here to the side. And here are my paper towels up here. So if I need those, I can get those easily. The first thing that you want to do is when you're working on your mission, if you are right-handed, I want you to start on the left side of your paper and work across that way. Okay, so don't start over here on the right and come back this way, because sometimes we go over the top of our stuff and smear it. So if you're right-handed, you're going to start this way so that all this paper here, there's no glue on it, right? So you can rest your hand if you need to, and you're not smearing. So you're working from here and going that way. If you're left-handed, you can do it from the opposite direction. So the glue's in your left hand, and you're going to start at this side with the glue and come across this way. Okay, so we always want to make sure not to let our arm or hand drag in any wet glue. Okay, so the first thing to do before you even go on your real paper is get your glue bottle. Let's move this out of the way for now. Here's my sample paper. Get your glue bottle, and you're going to just do a couple of tests. So you're going to be tempted to squeeze. You don't really need to squeeze this glue. It comes out pretty quickly. So I'm barely putting any pressure, and I'm just slowly moving my line across. I'm not squeezing. If I squeeze, this is what happens. Okay, see how thick that is? So don't be tempted, or don't give in to temptation to squeeze this bottle. Just let it start to come out on its own, and maybe just the slightest bit of pressure. Okay, the other thing you saw me do is my the tip of this is actually resting on the paper. Okay, so I keep it on the paper and it's at an angle. See how the bottle is tipped almost on its side? So then I can slowly pull this way, or I can slowly pull upwards. So I want you to make some practice strokes with this glue on a piece of paper. What I don't want is for you to go straight up and down like this. I know this is hard to see on the camera, but if you go straight up and down and you press and you have your glue bottle resting on the paper, you're going to get lines that look like this. See how it's kind of almost got the glue, the tip of the glue is digging into the paint. So let's hold this a little closer. Oops, the lights just went off in my room. See how these are kind of scratched and messed up compared to these, which are smoother and you just have nice thick even lines, not globby thick, but you have nice lines of glue like this. Sometimes you'll also notice, look at this line in particular. See how even though we put it on nice and evenly, the glue is almost separating. So right here, let me use a little pointer. Right here, it's almost skipped. That's okay. Don't go back and fix that. The reason why this is okay is because it adds to this feeling of a real rustic and old looking drawing or painting when you're done. So be okay about that. Don't be tempted to go back and fix that, because if I went back and fixed this, probably I would get something like this, where now all of a sudden I have a thicker glob, and then you'll be unhappy with that. Okay, so again, we're going to just leave our glue bottle to the side. We're starting from the, if you're right-handed, you're going to start on the left side of the paper and go across. Don't be up on the tip, be on the side. And remember, don't squeeze. So you're just gradually pulling a line. If you need to stop the line, like let's say you're at the end of the roof, just carefully lift up the bottle. And then in between, let's say I've done a line and I'm lifting up the bottle, and I'm going to go and start another line somewhere else. You might want to look and see if you need to wipe off the tip with your Kleenex or your paper towel, just to keep it clean. So if you end up having it kind of looking like messy like that, see how there's all that glue on the tip? Then you go to put it down and all of a sudden, oh, I have a big glob. So you always want to think about it this way, keep your nose clean. So you're going to wipe your nose, wipe the bottle's nose regularly. If you get a bubble, like this one right here has a bubble, and this is a big glob, so I don't really love it anyway, but in case you get a bubble, just let it be. It'll pop on its own, okay? If you can't stand it, maybe you can just carefully with your little poker, maybe you can carefully pop it, but I would suggest leaving it alone. And the last thing I want to tell you before I show you the real drawing here is if you make a mistake, let's say you do this beautiful line and all of a sudden you get this big puddle. You're going to need to be able to be okay with living with it, because we really can't wipe it away. Look what happens if we try to wipe it away. I take my Kleenex here and I wipe it, but look, I still have that kind of black, and then that little smear there, and then maybe I might accidentally smear some more and make an even bigger mess. So it's okay. A lot of the ones that I showed you for samples they have some globs in there, and it adds to that rustic feel, that kind of old look that we're trying to get with these missions, because these are really old buildings. Okay, so in art there is no perfect, and in the missions there's really, really no perfect. So I would like you to just try and relax and maybe enjoy the process of doing this. Okay, so now here we go on the real one. I'm just going to do a few parts so that you have a chance to work and not watch me all day. Up here, there is a tree, and all I'm going to do is follow my pencil line. Okay, so my glue bottle is way over on its side. Here, let's move it here so you can see better. It's way over on its side like this. It's not up on the tip, and I'm going to slowly drag without putting a lot of pressure and follow my line. And you can see I can continue making the line. I don't have to always lift up and start a new line. And can you see how there's some little lumps and bumps in what I'm doing? See how in here it's not perfectly smooth? That's okay. Remember, that's part of the style of this type of painting. Okay, so now I've lifted. Maybe I want to clean off, then wipe my nose. Then I'm going to continue on with my tree. So I'm going to start a new line there. Look, I had a little skip, but that's all right. I'm not worried about it. I had a little glob there, also not worried about it. So even somebody who has done this a lot of times, and even somebody who has painted and done art for many years like me, gets these things that happen. Okay, so I don't want you to feel like you have to have it be perfect. There is no perfect in art. You're going to have skips. See how this is starting to make little skips up here? You're going to have some globs. Okay, so let's be able to be okay with that. So there's a section of my tree. And remember, I've started over here on this side of my paper, and I'm going to work my way across that way. Let me show you a little bit on this bush right here. All I'm going to do, it's kind of a tree bush. Again, my glue bottle is on its side, almost all the way on its side. And I'm just following the line that I drew. If your glue doesn't exactly follow your pencil line, that's okay. Because later on, when this glue is dry, we're going to erase away any pencil lines. So we won't see those. Okay, so I've done a little bit of, oops, the lights came back on in the room. I've done a little bit of the tree. Here is how you can make the suggestion of leaves, because remember, we're not doing a whole bunch of little details. But if I just make a few marks in here, people will know that it's a tree. Okay, so that's the tree. Now, that's all I'm going to do on that, because I want to do just a little bit more on another part and then set you free. Here's a little plant right here. Okay, that's how you do a plant, if you have that kind of plant. If you have the ground with maybe some sand or pebbles or something, all you need to do is just give us a couple little spots here and there. Okay, not too many, just a few. Let's do a little section. Let's do this bell, and then we're going to do the roof, and that's done. That's it for today. So there's a little bell right here. I don't know if you can see it very well. At the top is a little circle. It's going to be really hard for me to make a circle with this glue. So instead, I'm going to just make a dot. So that will represent the top of my bell. And I need to wipe my nose here, my glue nose. Then carefully, without squeezing, and these little details can be pretty hard. So here's the bell. And that's it. That's all you need to suggest a bell. When you get to the palm tree, maybe in the trunk, all you need is a couple little zigzag lines to indicate the trunk. Can you guys see that? I hope. And then let's do a section of the roof, and then we're going to be done with this. So here's the bottom of the roof right here. Dragging this so my glue bottle is on its side almost, and I'm not really squeezing. I'm just a slightest bit of pressure on there. And then here's the top section of the roof. So it's kind of a thick section, and it curves, it turns the corner here, but we won't do that part now. Okay, so there's a section of roof, and all I want to do is add those tiles in it. So remember I showed you how, remember I showed you how you just do some lines like this. So all I'm doing is these little lines that are connecting the top. It's connecting the line at the top and the line at the bottom, almost like a train track maybe. Okay, and so those are the tiles of the roof. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for now. At the end though, I do want you to take care of your glue bottle. So when you're done for the day, I want you to wipe its nose, and then I will have the glue caps, which look like this, in the back of the room, and I will probably cap it myself. So I just want you to wipe its nose, and then you put the glue bottle back where I show you when it's your turn to come into the room. Okay, so hopefully that made sense and that it wasn't too long for you to watch, but good luck and have fun with this. Remember, have fun with this, okay? All right.